I'm Emily Mashak, and you're listening to Tuned In to NoCo, Town Square Media's show that lets you know what matters in NoCo. I'm talking today with Vanessa Lewis, the Resource Development Director with Partners here in Northern Colorado. So thank you so much for joining me, Vanessa.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And now, for those who are unfamiliar, what is Partners and how did it come to be here in Northern Colorado?
Yeah, Partners is a community nonprofit that has been at Northern Colorado for the last 43 years. So, a long time in Northern Colorado. And really, we are always just trying to help youth and other community members reach their full potential. And the main way that we've done that is through our youth programming. For the last 4 decades, we've had community based mentoring and school based mentoring for kids who just need that extra support from a positive adult that can enter into their life and just create a positive impact on them. And then in 2019, we expanded our programming. And so now we do a lot more prevention education and a lot more community partnerships just to help with making healthy decisions, with avoiding substance misuse, just kind of a variety of different things that we're educating the public on.
That is awesome, and I can't wait to learn more about that. But first, I have to ask, how did you find your way to Partners?
Yeah, I moved to the Fort Collins area in 2015 and was just lucky enough to get plugged into Partners pretty quickly. I had just finished a graduate degree in nonprofit administration and was just really excited to work at this community level. I really believe that closing that generational gap that we just see increasing is so important, and having there be positive adult role models who can work with kids and just create that really positive relationship across generations is so important. And so mentoring has always been at the top of my personal mission and my interest in the community building work that I want to do. And so, yeah, I've been thrilled to be there for almost 6 years.
That is so great. And now Partners has been around for a long time, but of course, this past year or two almost has been crazy with the pandemic. How has the
Yeah.
pandemic affected Partners, especially in terms of recruitment in your mentorship program?
Yeah, the pandemic has been a challenge for us as it's been for everyone. Our top priority is just keeping our kids connected and supported. And we recognize that the population of kids that we work with in general are often struggling to get the amount of support that they need to succeed. And then once you add the pandemic in, it's just increasing levels of isolation and less opportunities to get those supports. And so we've just tried to make accommodations wherever possible. We've added in some group programming. We've done a ton of virtual programming. We've figured out strategies for our partnerships to continue meeting in person safely. So, just a variety of things over the past year to make sure that we're continuing to meet those youth's needs. In terms of volunteer recruitment, that's really been an area that we've taken a hit. And so we just recognize that people are probably less inclined to think that there's the volunteer need for one on one mentoring. And that need is still very much there. We need mentors more than ever. And so we're continuing to try to find ways to connect with people who are interested in making that major impact and having a super positive experience themselves. We have a variety of different roles available, and we can work with a variety of different comfort levels.
Can you tell me more about the different types of mentorship opportunities that you have and what is that experience like in general?
Yeah, so we have two major mentoring volunteer opportunities. And so we work at the community level where we have mentors working one on one with a youth, typically for about 3 hours per week for a calendar year. And you're just doing activities with a kid as you would do them anyway. We really encourage our mentors to think about, where are you going to take your dog for a walk, or what meal are you planning to cook, or what basketball game are you going to watch this week? And can you invite a youth along on that and create a relationship with them doing those different activities in your life? Um, and with that one, we also host some group activities. And so there's opportunities to meet up with other partnerships and do some fun things that you might not do just one on one that our organization hosts. And then the other big opportunity is our school-based mentoring program. And so that's for kids who are really struggling in that academic environment. They need extra support in the school setting. And we have volunteers who are going in and meeting with them an hour per week. We're hoping that at the start of next school year, which is when we're really going to be recruiting people to start up in the fall of 2021, that we'll be able to be back in the school setting for those. And then we have a couple other opportunities where you can get involved, host or helping us facilitate some of the activities that we do with kids, helping us plan some of our fundraising events. So a variety of different ways to plug in. And overall, we have a super supportive group of volunteers, over 500 in Northern Colorado. So it's a great group of people to get involved with. We do social activities and networking opportunities for our volunteers. And it's just a group of people who cares a whole lot about the next generation. And so if that sounds like you, would love to have you get involved.
Now, how are mentors paired with mentees, and how can they be sure that they are prepared for this experience?
Yeah, we work really hard to do an intentional matching process. And so we take into account a variety of different factors. And so certainly we want to make sure that, you have something in common with your youth right off the bat that you can kind of bond over. And so we consider what are your interests, your activities that you like to do indoors, outdoors. What are the things that you're already doing in your life? And what are the things that the kids are interested in doing? And so we make sure, if you're an avid hiker, that we've got a kid who's up for learning about, navigating trails and going to the mountains. We have a lot of kids who've never been able to spend a day in the mountains, even though they're from Northern Colorado. And so getting the opportunity to work with a mentor in those activities that both parties really like to do. We also really take into account what the youth's needs are and what the mentor's strengths are to make sure that there's a good fit in terms of any issues that the youth might be facing. And then we certainly take into account logistical concerns, making sure that you're from the same geographic area, all of those different pieces. Our partnerships are really successful. About 90% are able to complete their time together. And typically, if they're not, it's because a youth is moving or, something happens along those lines. And over 70% decide to continue past that year together. And so it just kind of speaks to how strong those relationships form really quickly.
Mm-hmm. Going along with that, what are you looking for in potential mentors?
We need people from all walks of life, from all backgrounds. And so there's nothing really hard and fast in terms of your experience or your education or anything like that. It's really that you can be dedicated to a youth, that you have interest in showing them that they're worthwhile and that they're worth spending time with on a weekly basis. And so just being able to really make that commitment and have that interest. We have a super supportive program staff team. And so you work directly with a program coordinator throughout the process. So you always have someone that you can call up and say, hey, I'm running out of activity ideas, or I really need some support because my mentee brought up this issue and I'm not sure how to approach that with them. So you always have that support. And so that means that, you can work with a youth no matter what your background is, as long as you're committed to it.
Mm-hmm. Now, in your time with partners, how have you seen the mentoring program impact the Northern Colorado community? Do you have any specific memories or stories that have really stuck out to you?
Yeah, we just see, hundreds of partnerships every year that are so fun to see as those partnerships develop and grow. And really, we see such impacts on the youth over a year, just a year with their mentor. On average, kids end up seeing a 70% increase in confidence. And so just that ability to feel confident in themselves, to know that they're worthwhile, to know that there's community members who are invested in them. We've seen youth decide, I've never had the confidence before, but I'm going to go out for the school play, and then work with their mentor to practice their lines, nail the audition, and get the lead in the play. We've seen kids who are like, I want to be the first kid in my family to go to college, and their mentor commits to working with them on that, helps them through the application process, helps them apply for scholarships. And we have one partnership who now, they've officially been matched for over 10 years. The junior partner, the mentee, is now in college, and so they're not technically still in our program, but he's about to graduate from CSU, and he's been a mentor in our program for the last couple of years. So just seeing that cycle of recognizing how important these relationships are, how much they can drive our youth forward into meeting their goals, and then helping them give back to the community.
That is such a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing. And as you mentioned earlier, you also do prevention education and other services. Can you tell me more about those?
Yeah, so we took over some programming. If anyone's familiar with Team Wellness and Prevention, they were a nonprofit in the community for several decades as well. And they dissolved a couple years ago, and we recognized that they had some really important programming that we didn't want the community to lose. So we stepped in the fall of 2019 and took on several of their prevention education programs for kids. And so really working on social emotional skills development for kids, really working on helping them make positive decisions, working with different schools and in a variety of different settings to kind of do some of those group programs. And then in addition to that, we've also taken on the Responsible Association of Retailers. And so that is a professional network of alcohol and cannabis distributors and retailers who really want to be dedicated to being responsible in our community and making sure that they're serving our community in the safest and most healthy way possible. And so we work with them to make sure that they're up with ID compliance, that they're not serving underage youth, that they are working to give back so that they can support the programs that are really helping with that prevention education as well.
Hmm. Now, how can listeners, after hearing this, they're like, I want to be a mentor, I want to get involved. How can they sign up?
Head on over to our website, which is poweredbypartners.org. And there's a variety of information on there as well as sign up links. And so if you reach out to any of us on that website, then we'll be able to get back to you and get you plugged into the right volunteer role.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa, for talking with me today. It was so great to learn about partners. Is there anything else you would like listeners to know?
Uh, just that we would love to grow our network of support. We always are seeking to serve more kids, and the only way that we can do that is by having more volunteers come in. So we hope to hear from you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Thank you so much, Emily.
Again, that was Vanessa Lewis, the Resource Development Director with Partners. Learn more about becoming a mentor for Northern Colorado youth at poweredbypartners.org.